You know the feeling. Your knuckles turn white, your hands shake. You're gripping something, a relationship that stopped working years ago, a business that's bleeding out, or a version of yourself you refuse to bury. You're standing there facing the two hardest questions a human being can ask. Is this worth holding on to, or is it time to let go? Life doesn't send flashing lights to give you the answer. It doesn't tell you which choice will destroy you and which will save you. Because both options carry risk, most of us freeze. Letting go feels like an admission of failure, and holding on feels like delusion. We become so terrified of making a mistake that we stay suspended right there in the middle. But refusing to choose is still a choice. When you stay paralyzed, you suffer the agony of the struggle, without the possibility of the reward. Inaction becomes a decision that yields the worst of both worlds. This paralysis stems from a deeply ingrained biological drive. Our brains prefer the known over the unknown. We stay in painful situations because we recognize the sting, whereas freedom feels like a void. This diagram illustrates how our brains process that fear. Notice how the familiarity condition bypasses logical evaluation and feeds straight into our sense of safety. We end up treating what is familiar as if it were valuable. While your biology works against you on the inside, external voices confuse you on the outside. Your mentor says winners never quit. Your friends tell you life is too short to be unhappy. The noise is constant. Instincts lie, and advice contradicts itself. Navigating this crossroads requires us to abandon empty phrases like "follow your heart" and build a clear, rigorous framework to test our reality. We start by looking at what it means to hold on. When a situation is difficult, we often assume it's dying, but you must distinguish between something that is hard and broken versus something that is hard and growing. The most dangerous reason to stay is the sunk cost fallacy. You put a decade into a career or 5 years into a relationship, and you feel you can't walk away. But the past is gone. You can only weigh what the thing still means to you today. Take the story of Vera. She started painting at 34. For 12 years, she faced rejection, obscure struggle, and well-meaning friends who thought it was just a hobby. Vera was trapped here, in the valley of despair. This chart maps confidence over time. Early on, standards rise faster than actual skills. You plummet into this deep trough because you finally see your own inadequacy. This is where most people quit. But Vera pushed through. Her inner pull toward the work, her intrinsic vision, remained alive, acting as the catalyst to begin that slow upward climb. She made new mistakes, not old ones. If the process is stretching rather than hitting a wall, the effort is completely valid. Holding on makes sense when the commitment itself forges you into a more capable, resilient person, regardless of the immediate pain. Modern culture often treats moving on as a quick fix for discomfort, but meaningful release requires an honest inventory of the situation. You are looking for markers that the commitment has turned toxic. The test here is brutal but necessary. Look at the adhesive keeping you in place. Are you staying because something genuine in you still believes in the work? Or are you staying because you are terrified of the unknown void? Fear is a cage, not a compass. Often, we aren't even holding on to reality. We invest in a business model that used to work, or a version of a partner that only exists in our heads. You have to ask if the thing is actually good now, or if you are just performing attachment to its potential. The ultimate symptom of a dying situation is the erosion of self. It happens slowly. You bend yourself to fit a space that was never the right shape, quietly dropping your own opinions and desires just to survive the relationship or the job. Healthy commitments stretch you outward. Walking away preserves your growth when a commitment demands shrinking. Choosing yourself keeps you whole. We delay the decision because we're looking for the option that won't hurt. That option doesn't exist. There is no choice that protects you from emotional pain. When you let go, the loss is visible. People see it and give you space to mourn. But when you hold on, you absorb a quiet, lonely grief. You are constantly mourning the gap between the success you expected and the hard reality you are currently living in. Grief is guaranteed on both sides of the equation. Because pain is a constant, Trying to avoid it will only keep you lost. This realization frees you to prioritize radical honesty instead. So how do you actually decide? First, create physical distance from the storm. Second, ask what is actually true today without a preferred agenda. And third, listen to your nervous system's raw reaction before your conscious mind starts to rationalize. Make the decision based on the facts available to you right now. You cannot predict the future, so you have to separate the quality of your choice from the long-term outcome. Then you stop hovering. You make a choice. Either commit fully without reevaluating the pain every single day, or release it completely, grieve the loss, and move forward. When you finally act, you reveal what you actually value. You learn to pour yourself into something completely, even while making peace with the fact that everything in the world is impermanent. Ordinary people build extraordinary lives by having the courage to make honest choices. Hold on to what makes you more. Have the grace